you think I would think positive things, but I was so wide open that I was like, oh my God, do not mess this up.
I'm going to miss it.
Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Good Vibes FC. I'm Lynn.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Becky.
We're here together in person, taping our first in-person episode of Good Vibes.
I know. It's so exciting.
I'm literally so excited. I've been calling it a live show for like months.
Yeah, and then you told me it was a live show.
I know.
And then everybody's like, oh, you're doing this live. Can I come? And then turns out it's not live at all.
I had the
know.
same problems with that.
I know. People were like, where's the event? Can we come? And I was like, no. It's not an event.
It's just in person.
But we are doing this together after the Portland Gotham game, which was today. That's why we're all together in person. Gotham did win 2-0. But mainly, we are here to talk about Lynn's Olympic gold medal, which is so exciting and so incredible.
Call it
and
the
I
gold
can't wait.
coaster.
Call it what?
The gold coaster.
The gold coaster. It has no ribbon.
No,
Yeah, I
it's gold.
cannot wait to hear what happened. The ribbon's gone?
No, I have the ribbon. I
okay.
salvaged that.
She has 2 pieces.
I have 2 pieces. I just need to connect.
Okay, we're going to get to the gold medal coaster and ribbon story. But, Lynn, I want to start all the way at the beginning of your Olympics journey. Start at the top. You got named to the roster as an alternate after not being in the camp before the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then being injured.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like this year for me has been very challenging, like mentally, and like having faith that everything's going to work out, obviously. And so obviously I was injured in the camp before. Well, first of all, I wasn't called into the camp before, and I just also happened to be injured. So even if I was called in, I couldn't go. And that is obviously very daunting. As you guys know, we all know the roster is about to be named, and I'm like, shoot, I am probably not going. I'm not even in this camp. And so I kind of just went out on a limb, and I called Emma, and I said, look, like, I know you haven't seen me. I know that you are probably evaluating people now because this is post-camp. I didn't want to bother them when they were in camp and make it seem like it was all about me. So I was like, I'll reach out after. Reach out and just said, like, look, I know I haven't been there. You haven't seen me there, and you can't see me now because I'm still injured. But don't write me off. Like, I will be ready come the Olympics. And basically said, yeah, we have enough film on you. We'll just watch the film instead. And the day that we were all getting our calls, like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going. So I hadn't planned, like, we had that week break for the NWSL, but like I hadn't planned a trip just in case. I was like crossing my fingers and all my toes and everything. But I was like, there's no way I'm going. So the day comes that she's making calls, and I like forget it's the day because I'm like, there's no way. I go do my rehab. Then it's like the first day I'm like really running, and I like am driving back. Still forget. I think Remy texts me at like 3:00.
Remy's your agent.
Remy's my agent. Texts me at 3:00 and says, good luck today. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So then I was like, oh my gosh, today's the day. Everybody's finding out. Then me and Marley go and like visit our friends later on the afternoon because they just had a baby. So again, I like forget.
Marley's your fiance.
Marley's my fiance. Facts. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we're going to go see our friends. They just had a baby. I forget again. Then I get a text from a friend that's like, did you get a call yet? And I remember from the World Cup that they did all the no calls first, and it was getting later in the afternoon. So then I start in my brain saying, oh my gosh, am I going? And then I said, Lynn, don't do that to yourself. Like, don't get yourself excited when you're probably not going. So finally Emma calls on a random number. So thank goodness I answered. And
wait, Jenna Nicemonger didn't have Emma's number saved either. She told me on another interview.
Well, so Emma was just coming from the US or
yes,
from
she got a new phone.
She got a new phone. And so nobody knew.
So it was a rogue number that called you and you answered it.
Yeah. And thank goodness that we live in 2024 and it has like US soccer on the top.
Oof.
Of like caller ID. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I need to answer this. So I'm like, here, hold the baby. Like, take the baby. I go and I am like in the hallway, and she's talking to me a little bit. Like, she goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, yeah, good as one could be.
Just
And
get
then
to it.
And I was like, literally, Lynn, what? Like, act normal.
As good as one can be.
As good as one
Emma.
could be. She's probably like, okay, weirdo, but sure. So then she was like, okay, we're going to take you as an alternate. Obviously, we haven't worked with you, or we haven't worked together, blah, 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 but we trust that you're going to be ready. You've been in this position before, blah, blah, blah. And I like walk into the room back and after the phone call, and it's like Marley and our two friends looking at me, and I'm like kind of in shock. I'm like, I'm going. I'm like going as an alternate. And so Marley was like, that's incredible.
Was that your initial feeling was like, amazing, I'm going? Or were you like,
I was more just like shocked, I guess. Like I genuinely thought like there is no way I'm going. Like she doesn't know me. I wasn't in the last camp. Like I'm injured. Like I just felt like there's just no way. And so my initial I was obviously so excited. Like I think it took me a second to be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going." But I think I had to like take it in like moments, because in my head I was like, I'm going to have this week break. I'm going to maybe go home, see my family, and then get back to the NWSL. And I think I just had to like shift my entire mind in my entire plan like in one moment.
Do you think that calling Emma like had an influence on her decision?
I like to think so. Like I don't obviously know that for sure. Maybe one day I'll sit down with her and say, it was that the
I know. I feel like she would like tell you the
turning
truth.
point.
that's like a baller move, by the way, to do
Thank
that.
you.
Was it a tough decision, or were you like, I need to call her? Or was someone like, hey, maybe you should call her?
It was a tough decision. I kept going back and forth with my sports psych about it. When I wasn't called into the camp, I was like crying, and I was like, oh, woe is me. I'm not going, blah, blah. And my sports psych basically said, like, this isn't the time to cry. This is the time to keep fighting. And I will let you know when you can cry. And so that was a moment for me to be like, okay, Lynn, like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Yes, you're injured, but like, what can you do to take control of your situation? And I was going back in my mind, like, should I call her? Should I not call her? What would I even say? Like, because it's scary too, because I could call her and she could say, like, look, like, we don't see you here. Like, we don't see you in our future, all the things. So I, in my mind, was like, what could she possibly say to me? And am I going to be okay with that? Or do I want to just live in the unknown? And so I think also why I was so okay and so at peace when the day came of like kind of forgetting was because I felt like even though I wasn't able to play, I did everything I could have done in the moment, in the situation that I was in, to give myself a fighting chance. So once I called her, it was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. And I was just like, okay, that was the right decision for me. But leading up to that, I was obviously like so nervous. I like texted her, but turns out she like didn't have an American number at the time. So then I was like, oh my gosh, she's ghosting me. But then she wasn't ghosting me. She's just like, I'm not in the US. So like there was that too. And I was like, oh, she's never gonna call me back. And then finally I was like reaching out to so many people being like, what's Emma's number?
Oh my God, really? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And so it was like going on for a couple days because I like texted her and it was like no response. And then I text somebody else and I was like, did you give me the right number? Are you sure this is it? And then they were like, try WhatsApp.
Oh,
good old WhatsApp.
So finally I had gotten a hold of her and then she's like, oh yeah, like I'm free this time. Are you free? And I was like, okay.
Okay, so if you're getting ghosted, you can always try WhatsApp.
Try WhatsApp.
I love that. That's a good life lesson for everybody.
Exactly.
So you wrapped your mind around, okay, I'm going to the Olympics as an alternate.
Yeah.
How did you start to understand what your role was going to be and then you're like going into camp, you're an alternate. Like, how did you wrap your mind around that?
Yeah, I think that, well, a couple things. One, like I said, I have a sports psych, and Marley is also, I feel like, a second sports psych to me. The amount of times him and my sports psych say the same things, then I'm like,
that's great.
Why am I paying you? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Or why am I marrying you?
Yeah, exactly. What's happening here? But I think in that moment, I was like, okay, like, what is the next couple months going to look like for you? And I just had so many questions of, backstory. Emma's like, you're going to be an alternate and we have a meeting tonight at 9 p.m. And so I was like, whoa, what?
Like a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, with everybody who had just been called.
Okay.
So I think that was funny too, because obviously like Rose, Sonnet, all of them are here. And I
Yeah.
think that they were like, Lynn wasn't in the last camp. There's no way she's going either. And then I just like popped. My little head was on the Zoom. I'm like, I'm here. And they probably like, what are you
Were they
doing?
like texting you behind the scenes?
Well, the next day they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, you guys. Like, I literally don't know.
Wait, can you just tell us really quickly? Because this is what I would do on that Zoom is scan everybody's faces and names immediately and
100%.
count and be like, who's where, who's an alternate, who's who,
Well,
who's coming,
exactly.
who's not coming, who's not here.
Okay, so definitely. So you have, everybody has a face, but then you know how there's like iPhone 1,
Oh my
iPhone
God.
2. And you're like, who is
Were
that?
you writing things down?
No, I was just like scanning. And you obviously have the core group of people that you know are going to be there. And then there's some faces that you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. But then that means somebody else didn't make it.
Yeah.
But then you're also like, well, maybe that person is iPhone 1. And then you don't know who's the alternate and who's not the alternate in that moment, but you can make a guess, but you also have no confirmation until the list is sent out.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was definitely doing that. I was like, who is on here? And I think that everybody's doing that. And that's why Rose and Sonnet and Jenna and Crystal were probably like, what? Like, why are you here? It's like not funny, but it is funny because you guys, I promise you, in my head was like, there is no way I'm going. Anyway, what was I saying before?
Well, so you have to wrap your head around you're going.
Yeah. So I have so many questions because last Olympics, I was also named an alternate. And knowing your story of how when you were an alternate, you were like, we weren't allowed in the village and we kind of did our own things and you're like off to the side. And then fast forward to when I was an alternate, my first time during COVID, in my head, I was thinking that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be off to the side. It's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. How can I help the team? All these things. And then the rules changed.
Meaning like in 2016, the alternates were very much like a support role.
Yes.
In 2021, the rules changed and you became a part of the team.
Exactly.
So what were you thinking about for 2024?
Well, so then in 2024, I was like, what are the rules? Are they going to be like last Olympics or are they going to be in 2016?
Right.
So I first asked the coaching staff, I was like, can you guys explain to me, are we going to be a part of the team? Are we going to be a part of the trainings? Can you just lay out for me what that looks like? Mm-hmm. And so they answered the questions as best as they could because during that time as well, they were still deciding if alternates could be moved up and down because there was the rule change for this Olympics.
So that wasn't even decided yet at that time?
I don't think it was decided yet.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't unaware of it being decided yet. So once I had all those questions answered, I was like, okay, I'm going to go as an alternate. Again, I didn't think I was going. So anything was going to be like a bonus. And I was like, I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. I also think that there is something to, if you don't say the team, I mean, we did, but like say the team back then when I was getting the information is going to go on a medal. This is my thought process. If the team's going to go on a medal, I want to be somebody that the team can look at and say like, we were able to win this medal because you helped us. Mm-hmm. And even if the world didn't know that, I like feel very strongly that I care, but my teammates knew that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my mentality. I was like, okay, how can I sprint at Nay and make her the best Nay she can possibly be? Also knowing like we're playing Zambia and we're playing Germany and we're playing like people are going to be running at her. Like how can I make things so difficult and be that supporting role? So even if I, again, am not going to be able to get the medal, at least I know I contributed and my teammates know I contributed, if that made sense. So like that was kind of my mentality going into, and also I'm like, yeah, there's like no expectations about me. So I'm going to go have fun.
I mean, do you remember me texting you and being like, I am so happy for you, but I also feel so much better about the group because you're going to be there.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
Because you were probably like, you're saying you're not sure if anyone would have known that I contributed and helped this team win a medal. Like, I think actually everyone would have known, just like whoever knows you would have been like, oh, Lynn being there is like going to be so beneficial to that group in so many different ways.
Thank you. Getting your text. I feel like there are some teammates where you're like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. But you're one of those that anytime I get a message, I'm like, no, she really meant that.
I'm not going to waste words.
Well, I know. So it like meant so much to me. And that was also during a time where I think I had a decision of like, I can either go and just like have fun and like fuck around, or I can go and really try to make an impact. And getting that message too, I was like, okay, yeah, this is the path I need to go down. I need to like 100% put my all into the role that I am given. And I think that we've all talked about this, like being able to accept a role and playing that role to your best ability is why you win World Cups and Olympics. And so I was like, okay, how can I do that? So that was kind of like my mentality going in as an alternate.
Becky, will you talk about why you felt better knowing Lynn was going, like specific reasons why you felt like the team needed somebody like Lynn or Lynn specifically?
Oh, for sure. I'm just remembering from Tokyo, and we roomed during one of like the more tumultuous times of that whole experience.
Which was what? Like, was that like during the semifinal when we lost?
I think it was after.
It was both. So we went after group play. Remember, we were like, we're going to go all the way from, it wasn't Miyazaki. We had to go twice. We went
to the hotel where we had to have roommates.
Yeah, we played Australia. We played Australia there. And then we went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we went back there. So we roomed
and we
twice.
Lost.
And then we lost. Yeah. So we roomed twice together in that same hotel.
Yeah. And I was like, there were a lot of things happening behind the scenes. So I was like in and out of the room. But anytime I was in the room, I was like, this is a safe haven, because the vibes that Lynn, that you were putting off, I was just like, I'm at peace here. Like, we are at the Olympics. This is an amazing thing that we're doing. Like, we're getting to play soccer at this level. Like, things aren't that serious. They're not that terrible. Like, get a good perspective on it. And I think you provided that for me, because I was like, wow, there's a lot of things that are going wrong
Come
here.
into my safe bubble.
Exactly. Exactly. And it was just like a reminder that like, no, this is amazing. And I feel like when you played in that Netherlands match, you two like pairing up and getting those goals. And it was just like, that's the contribution. Like, you got to do it on the field, but you were doing it off the field too.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that like you guys, I wish people could see, it's almost like a game within the game. And like the amount of things that you were doing during that tournament, I was like, holy shit, there's so much more that goes into a world event. And
Becky in 2021.
Yeah.
You as her roommate got to see her doing so many things more than just being on the field.
Oh yeah. Like, obviously we weren't winning and we weren't playing to our best ability. And so Becky, as a veteran and also as our captain, had so many things going on. And a new to the world tournaments, was like just in the room being like, this is amazing. Like,
and it was
this
so
is
watching my iPad.
Yeah, I'm like, this is so cool. And I'm like, trust me, I know that things are not going well, but at the same time, I was like, we're at the Olympics. Just kind of so naive to, I think, the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I think that in that moment too, in my head, I was like, okay, my role here is to help you. And I was like, the only way I know how to do that is
to like lighten it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you want to complain, like, I'm down to complain, but I think you've been complaining or like trying to get us the standards higher.
Stop complaining.
Yeah, trying to get the standards higher.
You've been in a heavy conversation now.
Yeah.
Let's have a light one.
Yeah.
Let's get back to 2024 though, and you're an alternate and you're going into camp. And then you find out you're not an alternate anymore.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so before even that, so I find out I'm an alternate, and then my team goes on a road trip to LA. It's like my second game back minutes wise, because I'm coming back from my calf injury.
Your Gotham team.
My Gotham team. And then we fly back, and luckily for all of us, the first friendly before we leave for the Olympics is in New Jersey. So all of us who play in New Jersey are like, thank goodness we did not have to pack because we have been on the road, and then we had so I just packed for the first couple of days in this camp, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna then pack
for the tournament.
And so I was at home packing, and my phone, like, I get back to because it's on charge.
You get another unsaved number call.
No, I'm like in packing. My phone is like over there on charge. And I'm getting like so many, I go back and there's so many texts. It's like Becca and Hype is texting me. And
Becca is the U.S. Women's National Team PA Executive Director.
Yes.
Hype is Aaron Hype. It's the
press officer.
Press officer.
Thank you. I was looking for the right word. So all these important people are blowing up your phone.
Yeah, and like double texting me, and then I get a call from them, and I'm like, what is going on?
Did you think in that moment, am I on the team?
Well, Becca's message to me was a little interesting. She said something like, your weird year is getting even weirder or like something. Because I think I went up to her and I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm here. This like I've been having a very strange year. Obviously, I think I've only played like 4 games this year. It's been crazy. But anyways, I get that message. And so I just like put a question mark. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so then I call Laura. By this time it's like 10 o'clock at night too.
Oh my God.
I know, it's like bad. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, is everything
I'm
okay?
at home packing.
Yeah, like, is everything okay? And she was like, oh, Emma wants to know if she can meet with you. And I'm like, yeah, like I can be there in 5 minutes. And so I am now rolling through the lobby with like my giant bags, and Hype and Laura are immediately there, and they like escort me up the elevators into a conference room.
Could you read anything from their face?
No, but I think I had like I was like, something is happening. Yeah. Like,
were you like, is there any chance this is bad?
Excuse me. No, because I was like, what on earth could I haven't done anything.
Yeah. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, thank God. I was like, what? I literally
imagine if you had like done something wrong and you're like going like, oh my God, they found out.
They know. All the people here, I don't think that would have been the thing of us doing something
I
would
wrong. Have like thought though that like something obscurely not wrong that I did was like deemed bad.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. So now you're going up to meet with Emma.
Yeah, I'm going up to meet with Emma. She's like, I walk straight into like the conference room and her back is to me, so that she turns around. She's like, hello, come sit down. So I have to like walk around the table, but there's also all the other coaches.
Everybody was in there?
So everybody's in there.
Do you have your suitcases in the room?
So no, I like put them to the side, and Laura's like, it's okay. Like, we'll take it. We're like, we'll watch them. And I'm like, okay, great. I walk in. I'm obviously kind of nervous, but also like, what is happening? So now we're just like across the table from each other, and all the coaches are there, and then they start to pack up. So now we are just staring at each other, waiting for everybody to leave the room. And I'm like, hey, cool. Like, just chilling.
Just like eye contact?
Kind of, but I'm like looking and then like, I'm being like, what is going on? Anyways, they leave the room and me and Emma start talking. We talk for 30 minutes, just kind of shooting the shit. It's like 10:30 by this time. Like, it was a good conversation. We're talking about the team, and she's like, how do you like it? I'm it's amazing. I think this group of players is like amazing together, blah blah blah. But it's 30 minutes and I'm like, what? Get to the point. At this point I'm like, I'm sweating, Emma, under the shirt. And so she's like, okay, so we're gonna make a roster move. Somebody's been moved and you're gonna be elevated up from an alternate. And at this point, my palms just like basically start dripping onto the table. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Is the person okay? So then I start thinking about that. I'm asking like, should I reach out? I don't want to be insensitive, but I also like, this is kind of crazy. So we talk about that for a second. And then we kind of just like start shooting shit again for like another 30 minutes.
That kind of sounds like Emma. Yeah. Like from what I've heard about Emma, it kind of sounds like
her. Oh, yeah. Now knowing her, I'm like, okay, that was so normal. But like at the time, I'm like, we haven't had that many conversations. And I'm like, my whole phone got blown up. And so the whole 30 minutes leading up to that, I'm like, what's happening?
What's the message? Why am I here?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I need you to tell me right now. Looking back though, I enjoyed that like hour. I feel like I got to know her a little bit more, but I also kind of feel like she didn't make it seem so pressure filled.
I was going to ask, did it feel like an interview? Like, do you think you could have answered the questions differently and she would have been like, okay, we're actually going to pick someone else to bring on to the 18?
Maybe I didn't even think about that, but honestly, maybe. Imagine she's like, never mind, actually.
Yeah. She's like, so well, that's my message. We'll see you tomorrow. And you're like,
we just wanted to connect. Yeah, so I basically the latter half of it though was like, who are the people you're gonna call first? Like, what is your support system? And then like logistical things of like, don't tell the team yet. The news isn't out yet, but we have to wait until all the things make sure it's like can be okay.
Like official.
Yeah, official. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
How did you? Obviously, we all know now that Kat Macario was injured, and so she wasn't able to go to the Olympics. You said it was one of your first questions was, is this person okay and can I reach out to them? But how did you come away from the meeting? How did you feel for Kat, knowing that like obviously this is really complicated. Like nobody wants their teammate to get hurt, but at the same time, this was an exciting moment for you. So how did you deal with like those two opposing things?
Yeah, I think that we talk about this all the time. Like soccer is like so cutthroat sometimes, and as harsh as it is that there are 18 spots that need to be filled, and if somebody gets hurt, that's like another spot. Like that's what's so hard I feel about especially this country is like somebody is always going to be there being like, if she gets hurt, if something happens, I'm going to step in. For Kat, like I felt so bad for her because we know how much goes into it, and also like the national team is weird. Like you are fighting the whole time, but they're also the only people that understand what you're going through. And so I didn't know in that moment of like, okay, does she want space? Because this is so tough. I'm sure that conversation was not easy. I don't know how they came to that decision, but I can't imagine it was like taken lightly and I'm sure she was devastated. Like you never know what the future is going to hold for you. You never know. I think that so many people are like, oh, it's just like the next Olympics. But like we have to qualify every single time to go to the Olympics. And it's not easy every time. So we don't know if we're going to go to another one as a team. And you don't know if you're going to go to another one as an individual. So all of those things, and knowing that my year was hard too. Like I sympathized and empathized with her in those moments. But then on the other hand, I knew, like I said, I had a decision to like either support the team however way I could, or just like go and be like, oh, I'm just gonna like mess around here, which is like obviously terrible. Don't ever do that. But those honestly are like the two decisions you have. And I think I knew that I was like, okay, no matter what, like I'm gonna be ready if I'm called upon. And so in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea I was gonna be called upon right now. So I think it was a moment that I had to process. And I think that's like, I wasn't overly excited talking to her because I was just like, oh, like this is like crazy.
Like a really serious implication for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's my teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also for the team, because I think that me and Kat are two different players.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is a different style of player going into the Olympics. And this is a different, like, there's so many different thought processes have to go in. Like, how are we going to use me versus how you were going to use Kat? How are you going to, like, what pairing am I going to go with? Like, so all of those decisions, I think in my mind, I was like, that was probably really hard. And of course I'm excited. Like I'm human. And I think that we're all a little self-serving, but at the same time, I'm like, what is that? Like, there's so much. So in that moment, I was just kind of like, whoa, I like need to call Marley. Like that was the thought. I was like, I just like need to call him.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that like we can hold a lot of emotions, and we don't have to just be sad. Like you could be sad for Kat and also so excited for yourself, and that's not self-serving, I don't think at all, like you said. And I think we forget sometimes that like you can hold strong emotions at the same time.
Yeah, two things can be true at one time.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was like very devastated for her though, and I still now like
I know.
I just saw her when we played Chelsea, and she obviously was so happy for us, but I'm sure at the same time she's like.
You know, I think it would be really hard not to be. And as somebody who has been in obviously not at all the same situation, but wanting to be a part of the team, and injury has prevented me.
Yeah.
There is a feeling of like, this is really hard for me, but at the same time, I'm so happy for my friends and so proud of them.
Exactly.
And it's like, there two things can be true. I think that's like such a perfect way of describing it. I do want to like move on to traveling to France and getting there and what the tournament was like for you. But one other thing that you said that interested me a lot was the idea that we're competing against each other every single day for only 18 spots on this roster, but we're also each other's best friends. And we are the only people in the world who understand what it's like to try so hard to be on the national team.
Yeah.
And all three of us can talk about that. Like, your closest friends are your competition. And like, it's competition for a spot on the team, for your livelihood, for being the best in your position, for playing time. It's like so complex.
I know when you say it, it kind of sounds.
You made that sound
really toxic.
Kind of more difficult than it is.
I agree. It does sound impossible. But like, me and Rose played midfield against each other and fought for time, and I lost time to Rose and Rose lost time to me. And I literally love Rose so much.
I think that there is like okay, it's weird because like obviously I just said there's only 18 spots. But I also think that you being your best Sam is gonna make me my best Lynn. And you being your best Becky is gonna make me my best.
Yeah, but we're forward defender midfielder in this room.
That's true. But I also
it's so true. You're so right.
It is so true. But like at the same time, like I'm gonna take Soph for example. Soph being her best Soph is gonna make me my best Lynn. Like,
yeah,
of course we're playing the same position, but if we both didn't compete every day, then we wouldn't be as good.
Mm-hmm.
You push each other.
Yeah, you push each other. And so, and I also think that there is this notion that like there isn't enough to go around for everybody.
Oh,
and like
this is a good one.
There is. Like you can have success and I can have success, and it doesn't like your success has nothing to do with me. My success has nothing to do with you. They just happen to be on the same team. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
But quick backstory is when this was happening, Alyssa Nair, hopefully she doesn't mind me telling the story, but she was obviously not in the camp going into the Olympics as well because she was injured. And she texted me on the side and was just kind of like, how do you feel about Crystal being named as a forward instead of a defender? Because obviously I'm a forward and that's another person that I am now quote unquote competing against. And I basically just said back, like, obviously I am jealous. Like, that's human nature. I'm jealous. I wish I was in that position. But Crystal's success has nothing to do with me. I am so happy for her for having that moment and her to be that versatile person. I'm just jealous because I like want to do that, but like I'm happy for her. And I think that that's the difference of being able to compete and be like, I want that spot. I know you want it so badly too, but like I don't need to hate you because we're in the same position. I just need to be my best Lynn. And if the coach likes you more, then she's going to like you more.
You've always had the best attitude about this. Yes, Lynn has always said this. And sometimes I'm like, you're so right. That makes so much sense. And other times I'm like, well, it's hard. It is hard.
No, I mean, I struggle with that every day too. I just think that soccer like is so subjective at the end of the day. Like, the coach, I could be my best Lynn in the entire world, and some coach could be like, you are the best forward I've ever seen. And then another coach can be like, I actually think that you suck.
And you don't fit into what I want. And you don't fit into my system.
Exactly. So I'm like, why am I going to take that out on another forward?
Great perspective.
It's very wise, Lynn.
Going to France.
France.
Oh,
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We'll get her warmed up.
Okay, Lynn. So
I'm so shiny.
It's
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm
hot.
So you're heading to France.
Okay, sorry, serious.
You're heading to France.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe you tell me, is there this weird feeling, maybe a little bit of a dichotomy, which I know is a smart word, between like you were an alternate, but now you're on the team and now you're also like a senior member, like you're a veteran on this team and it's a younger squad. So how did you kind of adjust your mentality again and figure out what your role was going to be for the team?
Yeah. I think that Emma was very clear about people's roles. And I think that we saw that through the whole tournament of like, this is my starting 11 and we will have people come in and finish off the game and whatnot. And so I thought that was very helpful to be like, okay, I can live into this role. But even before that, like, I'm like not an idiot. Like I'm not going to go from being an alternate to starting. Like that doesn't make sense. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going again. It's the same mentality though. Like, how can I help this team? Like, what does the team need from me? The team needs for me to run around, cause pressure, but also like, I need to be sometimes Japan and I need to set up in their formation. And sometimes I need to be Zambia. And like, I need to just do what's asked of me. Like,
can you just really quickly say what your role was in the pregame training before the Zambia game?
Oh, I was Barbara. I was Barbara.
Obviously.
I was Barbara Banda. Yeah.
So, like, what were you trying to do? Like, how were you challenging our defense to prepare for Zambia?
Yeah, I was running around as fast as I could and as strong as I could.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. I was like, how can
Did you score any goals?
I don't know. That's like
too many to remember.
I can't remember. But also like on set pieces too, like knowing what she did, I was her. So like I was being the outlet for if we were able to clear it. So just knowing that like helping Nay and T and everybody set up in our like rest defense because that was my role. And so I think that going into that, I was like, okay, what do I need to bring to the team on the pitch? But I think that, or I like to think that off the pitch, I was very helpful in the sense that like I was just like a listening ear sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lindsay, this was her first tournament as the captain. And I think that there was like a leadership group. I wasn't part of it, but like a leadership group of more veteran players that had been to world events that I think is like so needed. And so there was that. But then I also like just sat right across from Lindsay on the bus. And part of it, I was like, okay, does she need like a laugh today? Like I'll do that. Like I'll talk about nonsense if we want to talk about nonsense. But then also like, does she need to vent and just like get it out of her system? And there was like one time I like laugh about this now, but like I said, it was clear that Emma was going to ride the starting 11 until the end. Like we were going to win or lose with that starting 11, which obviously great decision. Like, and I give them so much credit. I was like, you're poor legs, but keep going, girls. And it was going into, I think, the final game, and everybody was like a little bit tired, and we were at training. And I was just like gaslighting everybody because everybody was like, I'm so tired. I'm like, no, you're not. You're actually. And I was like, no, you are not. Lindsay was like, I'm just exhausted. Like, I have another meeting. And I was like, she's like, I can't do it. And I was like, yes, you can. I was like, you can and you're gonna. And so I think that was like my role in at a moment too. I was like, my role today is to gaslight everybody into feeling like you are so fresh and so joyous and alive.
Is there a positive way
a positive
of saying
gaslight?
gaslighting? Yeah, is there a different word for it? Is it just being supportive in a slightly manipulative way?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that
I don't know.
It was positive gaslighting.
Okay. We'll coin it like that then.
I like love that.
Yeah. I'm like, obviously I'm not like doing any harm. Well, maybe, I don't freaking know. But I just was like, okay, like what does the team need from me today? Like they need some energy. Like everybody's obviously exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. But we're here. So girls,
perspective. We're competing for a gold medal.
We're going to compete for a gold medal. And I think that like that, so going to France, like yes, I was technically in a different role and I could play, but it wasn't different mentality. Like I was going to do that anyways.
Yeah.
And I think that like, honestly, being in Tokyo and being at the last World Cup, this was very helpful, or like those were very helpful to have that perspective. Cause I was like, the last two tournaments have not gone how we wanted them to. They have been pretty terrible, for lack of better words. And I'm like, we're not doing that again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can recognize the patterns and be like, I've felt this before and we're going to squash it with my positive gaslighting.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that going to like the veteranness of, there is something that like, and I think that you say this too, like I never actually really feel like a part of the team, even though I've like been a part of the team for a long time. I'm like, I'm still trying out all the time, but I wouldn't have the confidence to do that in 2021 or at the last World Cup, because I still feel like I'm like trying to find my way, where now I'm just like, this is me and like, this is what I'm going to do. And this is exactly why you brought me here. So why am I like trying to fight that?
Mm-hmm. That's got to be so freeing though.
Yeah, I was just like, this is me, Lynn.
This is, take it or leave it, but you're going to take it because I'm awesome.
Yeah, well, I was also just like, you're not going to, you might send me home, but I was like, are we going to send me home? No.
So you mentioned that Emma was using a really consistent starting lineup the whole time, and it became clear as the games were going on that you were going to go into games and get used as a sub.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what it felt like to sub into games, and then even against Germany when you subbed on and scored a goal? Like, can you walk us through some of those moments standing there ready to sub on?
Yeah. Well, I feel like my whole career has been that.
With the national team?
With the national team. So I feel like that's like something I'm pretty used to. I think that me going into games, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong because you play
The other
against me.
team is so afraid.
Yeah, but so I'm thinking, I'm like, how much chaos can I cause for you guys, like in your mind? And then if we have to close out games, I'm like, let me do the work because you've been working for 90 plus minutes. Like, dump the ball in behind. I can run and I can get there. And I also am a big body. Like, I can hold up the ball in the corner. So in those moments, I'm thinking, okay, what does the game need? So like even Japan, I was like, I'm fresh. Like, let me run. Like, let me do that for you. In the Germany game, I think, okay, so backstory of this, going into the 2021 Olympics, it was also, I think, like a push to obviously make the team. The last 3 games before that, before the roster was announced, like I didn't sub into. And the last game before that, I think we were playing Nigeria.
And you subbed on and scored.
Yeah. And so but even with that, like, it was dwindling moments of the game where I was like, I'm not going to sub into this game either. I'm not going to go to the Olympics. And there were other players that were getting ready to warm up. And at the very last second, Vlaco was like, go in. Like, I didn't even warm up. I was just like, okay, I'm going in. And my sports psych said this before, though, that game was, you don't need a lot of time to make an impact. And so I just kept repeating that to myself. It's like, you don't need a lot of time to make an impact. Blah, blah, blah. And so I obviously subbed into that game and scored. And so going into every game at the Olympics, that's all I would repeat to myself. I was like, you don't need a lot of time to make an impact. You know? And so when the Germany goal happened, it was just funny because Emma was like, how sick would it be if like your first touch was a goal? Obviously my first touch wasn't like a goal, but I was like, it's pretty close. I think I touched it like 3 times.
That's like so cool that Emma said that.
Yeah, she was like, there's going to be space. You're going to get an opportunity. And I was like, okay. And then when I saw it like opening up, Trin got the ball down the side. Mm-hmm. And so I see there's so much space. I start to peel out wide and Mal starts coming in. And in my head, I'm like pointing at Mal, like pass it to her. Because I was like, for the love of God, do not play it to me right now because Mal needs to get this ball and draw people in. And so Trin plays it to Mal. Mal dribbles and then I pull out wide and she plays it to me. And then in my head, you think I would think positive things, but I was so wide open that I was like, oh my God, do not mess this up. I'm going to miss it. I was like, please, for the love of God, do not mess it up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. And so then I scored. But I was like, wow, that happened so fast.
How did you feel when you scored?
Amazing, obviously.
Do you always feel amazing when you score? Or is this like elevated?
Yeah, I feel like, and also watching myself back on tape, I'm like, wow, Lynn, like act like you've done that before. Yeah.
Oh,
that's so cute. But yeah, I think that like, again, also knowing just like the year I've had, I'm like, what is happening to me? Like, have some faith in your ability and like in yourself. And so in those moments, I'm like, all of this has paid off. Obviously, I didn't score at all. Like, I would say that too. But in that moment, you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I scored a goal at the Olympics on this big stage.
Okay, we need to talk about the leg sleeve. The leg sleeve was the most viral sensation of the Olympics. Like, I am so obsessed with it. Lynn laugh leg sleeve. Like, I love it so much. There is this goal.com article that says, quoting, the title, Lynn Williams' leg sleeve is a symbol of self-liberation in a cutthroat sport. What do you think when you hear that?
Like, I don't know. First of all, cutthroat sport, duh.
Was it self-liberation or was it more practical than that?
I think a little bit of both. Like, that's like kind of a crazy title. It makes me sound so cool.
I know.
I mean, that's why you wear it, right? For self-liberation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just what was the leg sleeve? Why did you wear it?
Okay, so I had a calf injury before the Olympics. It wasn't a common calf injury. Basically, I split my fascia in half. And so I needed to like, yeah, I know, gross.
Squeeze it back together.
Yeah, so I had to get my calf drained. And so like part of the medical term, the medicalness, I don't know how to say that, but was like, we need to make sure we squish it together so it doesn't fill up with fluid again. So that's how it started. And then I was like, okay, I should play with this. And then it's like stopped I didn't need it anymore, but with my history of my hamstring and my other knee, like it felt good to play with it.
Yeah.
And it, like, I don't know if you guys ever wore that leg sleeve like in life, but it just feels nice, like the compression. So I was like,
like
why?
a little hug.
Yeah, like a little hug. So I was like, why wouldn't I just start playing with this? Like, I don't, every other sport does it and it's like no big deal, but then you do it in soccer and like
It's an act of self-liberation.
it's active self-liberation. And so then Marley was like, this is so cool, you have to like keep it going. And I was like, okay.
It like was so cool.
It did make you look real cool. I mean,
Thank
you're
you
already
so
really
much.
cool, but
Thank
it
you
did.
so much.
And then
Pretty
Lynn,
cool.
the literal whole team adopted it. Like there was a picture of you guys later. I think you were at the Village or you were doing something Olympics themed and like 8 people had on a leg sleeve.
Well, again, it's so tough. So I think people were like, I need this to like, again, have like a little hug throughout the day. So it's not like I guess I started kind of like in the games, but to walk around, we've done it for a long time. But the funny thing is in one of the games, I ended up injuring my other knee on the other leg. So I was like, okay, well, I need to actually switch this for actual medical purposes. And people were like, she switched her leg sleeve. Like it's always been for show. And I'm like, I swear
Totally.
it's not. Like I don't know why anybody would choose to wear a thick leg sleeve in the dead of summer in France. In France. And then in the at the after party, I was wearing a leg sleeve and somebody was like, "Oh, look at you, you're still wearing it." And I was like, "I'm
Committed
still
to the bit.
injured."
I still need it.
My
I'm
fascia
like-
is still separated.
Yeah, I'm still injured.
By the way, you get some gnarly injuries.
Oh, you guys, I know. It's like
It's because she's so powerful.
I think so too. I'm like it's like a blessing and a curse being this
Just
powerful.
being this great.
being this powerful.
Well, wait. So talk us through some of the logistics. Like people, one of the questions I kept getting,
Yeah.
as somebody who was raving and ranting about the leg sleeve day in
you
and
so
day
much.
out, was how you chose what color to wear. And I wanted you to talk us through the logistics. How did you have to choose what color to wear?
Yeah.
And what brand is the leg sleeve? Like, were they custom made?
No, it was Incrediwear. It's like but okay.
So they have full on
They have
red
full,
and,
then
blue
they
leg
have like
sleeves.
knee ones. And can they give me a sponsorship, please, for the love of God? But so they have like different leg sleeves that it's not compression. It's supposed to like aid in recovery and like rehab. So it honestly just feels like a nice little like warm
hug.
and awareness of your injury.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a gray one that I was wearing around. And then when I was in the NWSL, they were like, we got it cleared for like medical purposes. So basically like even if I was like wearing a whole bunch of red tape, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, it's like kind of the same thing. So it's supposed to match your shorts or your socks. And so I was like, okay, well, the NWSL cleared me, but the Olympics is a little different than the NWSL. So they bought me 2 different leg sleeves, one blue and one red, because we had blue and red. And they just happened to be like the most perfect color, blue and red. I was like, this is just
They
by
did look real
happenstance.
good.
I figured they'd have to be Nike or
No, that
custom.
was just by like sheer luck.
The soccer gods.
The
smiled down.
gold medal. Good luck.
Exactly. So then I was matching them to my shorts, and it wasn't a big deal because I think our first game we were wearing red or something like that. Sorry, pre-camp we were wearing red. It was no big deal. And then we got to France, and our first game there we were wearing white shorts, and I was like, oh my God, I only have red, blue, and gray. So I had to wear the red leg sleeve because on our white shorts was a little tiny piece of red at the trim. And so technically you can
Nice.
wear red if your shorts have a red trim on the bottom.
Nice.
But every time too, like you're in the locker room and they're doing equipment check. And so it's like a whole scene. And I'm like, I also have
who's doing an equipment
the
check?
refs. The refs are doing an equipment check.
So the refs come into the locker room and they check your uniform, your number matches up with your name. They check your cleats. They check your shin guards.
Yeah, they make sure you have all the right things. And there's like, so they're going down the line. And so they're like, number 8, I pull up my jersey, show them my jersey, show them my shorts. And then I'm like, I have this giant leg sleeve.
I have to wear a leg sleeve.
And they're like, obviously so confused. And I'm like, well, what color do you want me to wear? And then they were like, well, it doesn't really matter, like whatever color you want. But then they have to go talk to the doctors because they're like, is this a medical thing? And that was so funny because I have to go get the doctor. And then they just whisper to the doctor, like, is this for medical purposes? And the doctor's like, yes. And then
Proceed.
they're like, okay. So then we're moving forward. But then it like just kind of, they kept like not loving that. Obviously the refs are like, why is this girl wearing this giant red leg sleeve under her white uniform? So towards the end, I think there was like an email written from the refs to us saying, what's the deal with this? And at the very same time, somebody had put in another email that was like, can you guys change to red shorts? And so for the last 2 games, they were like, yes, please make sure we are wearing red shorts, because Rose also then was wearing a leg sleeve. So then we were like, 2 people have red leg sleeves. We need us to wear red shorts.
Oh my God,
Wear
that
the
is
red.
so interesting.
Yeah.
I remember there were a lot of comments when you guys wore a certain combination of uniform color. I think some people were kind of like, why did they change the short color around?
Yeah, because it was like white, red, white.
And it was partly enforced because of the need for the leg sleeves. That is literally so interesting.
I know. I think that they like I said, we were gonna change anyways, or they asked us to change, and somebody
but you were like, yes,
yeah, we will absolutely. We've been wondering.
Did you ever have to like yank the leg sleeve up, or did it like fit around your leg perfectly?
Well, it's so funny because so each leg sleeve packet comes with 2 sleeves, so I could have double sleeved up, I guess, but like I said, Rose needed one, so I gave it to her. But I'm like
the same size?
Exactly. So I was like, I don't know how this is fitting you and fitting me at the same time. It's like the sisterhood of the traveling leg sleeve.
Did it fit? It fit her?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How?
I don't know. Either hers, obviously she wasn't getting the same compression that I was getting, but there's like
instead of a hug, it was warmth.
It was just like a little touch.
The sisterhood of the traveling leg sleeve is a good one.
That's awesome.
Everybody was gonna have one now. But I don't know, it like had like a little, I don't know, sticky part at the top and the bottom, so it just like sticks in your skin creases.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm sure like I pulled it up a couple times, but like I'd also pull up my shorts sometimes too. So
okay, I'm so glad that we got the inside scoop on the leg sleeves. I want to get back to the games a little bit. Can you just talk us through the knockout rounds? You won them all 1-0. They were so close. Like the margins in these games are just so small. What stands out to you? Was there any time where you were like, wow, this is really, really hard. I wonder what's going to happen?
I just think that that's like international soccer, like at the Olympics. Obviously, the Japan game was nerve-wracking because we're like now going into overtime and we still have the same like roster out there, and I'm like, what? Like you're just nervous. All the emotions are happening, all the thoughts are happening, but at the same time, everybody else is also getting tired too. So unlike like a World Cup, like there's not so many days, but 4 or 5 days between the games, where this is like play, recover, match day -1, play. Like every single team is having to do that. And you only have 18 players. So just knowing that every team is also getting as tired as we're getting, I think has like a little bit of, in the back of your head, you're like, you just got to push harder than them. And I think that there is actually something to playing in the NWSL and then going and doing and playing in the Olympics. I think that with the games that we play week in and week out, they are so grueling and so much transition and so much fight that I think that we were really prepared to do that and go into this like, how much pain am I gonna have? And I think that like people don't talk a lot about like, you have it's like 2 different tournaments. You guys know this, but like the group stage is almost like one tournament, and then the after bit is like another tournament. And so I'm just saying this for everybody because obviously you guys know this, but like the group stage, we obviously came out on top, number 1 in our group. But then you have the quarterfinal game, and if you were to lose the quarterfinal game, nobody's ever going to be like, well, but the US, they had a really good group. It would just be like, it's over, you know? But it's also like, at that point in the tournament, I like to call the quarterfinals like Wednesday of the week. It's like Wednesday of the tournament where you're kind of like drained and you're like, okay, we have to play another game in a very short period of time. But this game it's
not Friday yet.
It's not Friday yet, but this game also kind of like matters the most because if you lose this game, you go home. And if you win the game, you know you're at least there for the rest of the tournament. And so that game was the most nerve-wracking because you're like, holy shit, with the we're still tied. We're going into overtime, extra time, and then overtime, and we haven't scored yet. We could go home. What's gonna happen? So I think like if any game like that was the most nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But then you we won the game and then you kind of get this like boost
second
of energy.
wind?
Yeah, you get like a second wind.
Okay.
And
How was it playing Germany for the second time in the same tournament in the semifinal?
hard. I think it's hard to play any team
Yeah.
twice, and I think it's hard to beat any team twice.
Yeah.
And we knew that they weren't gonna be like, we knew we weren't gonna just like steamroll them like we felt we did the first time. Like we knew it was gonna be a battle. But what we kept saying is like after we beat Japan, we were like, we're gonna be here till the end. We might as well make it gold. And then going into Germany, we were like, do not take them lightly. We need to make sure like we go into this, like make sure our heads are right.
Because you had beaten them 4-1 in the group stage.
Exactly. And like, but at the same, now they know exactly how
Yeah.
we play. We know exactly how they play. It's going to be a harder game. But going into that, we were like, you're either going to win this game and now fight for a bronze, or you're going to win this game and fight for a gold. And so I think that in the back of everybody's mind of make sure you give every single thing to this game. And then you have like brilliance happening at the same time. Like there was some individual just brilliance that's going on. And I think that that's also part of it. Like everybody's working, but at sometimes you just need Alyssa Nair to like
save with her toe.
Save it with her toe. And sometimes you need Mal to just be Mal. You know, like those moments, you're like, this is the reason why we have this roster. It's because you have the people that have the ability
that can step up in the moment they have to step up.
Yeah. When the team's like tired and exhausted and like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? You need that one person to be like, I'm going to call game and we're going to go home. And we kept saying like, let's bop them and get out of here. Like that was what we said before every game.
Can I ask a question? I feel like in the tournaments that I've played in, there's always been like a moment where I'm like, oh, we're winning this. And I am never sure about anything. Did you have a moment during this Olympics where you were like, oh, we're winning it?
I think after we beat Japan, nobody really said this, but like I felt like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Why?
I don't know. I just felt like there was just like a vibe. It's just a feeling. But there was also, this is like a funny backstory about the Cheetah Girls.
Oh my God, please.
Okay, so when we were in New Jersey, we decided to go out as a team, no coaching staff or anything. Sonnet and Rose like made a reservation for us, and we just went out into the city and like had a girls' dinner. And there was 2 different vans because we were like, we're not going to take a giant bus into the city. So there was 2 different vans.
Was this the night you guys made the TikTok about the skinny jeans and a fanny pack?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
We decide at the dinner, we're like, let's just go on a quick loop around Times Square because somebody was like, oh, let's have let's recreate the World Cup 2019 when I guess they were like, we have a surprise for you guys. And you guys are going to Times Square.
That's a story. That's probably a story for another broadcast.
Yeah.
Becky and I.
You guys will have to tell that. But Rose was like, we have to do, like, let's go. And so it was so funny because our driver was obviously so annoyed because he's like, there's no quick loop around Times Square. Like, that's not a thing.
Did both vans do a loop around Times Square?
No, that other van was like, we need to get out of here. We're going home. Because also, we're like, if we don't do this fast enough, the tunnel will close.
Okay.
So we are like, quick loop around. The driver's obviously annoyed. The whole time that we're like playing songs.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah. Like
literally my dream come true.
Exactly. Singing, like having a great time. I think we were playing like Concrete Jungle, and then we like aren't even at Times Square yet. So we're like, play it again. Like somebody like messed up. But then I can't even remember who said it. Probably was Rose, honestly, was like, we're going to play Cheetah Girls. And then she played Sisters, like We Are Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, this one's too slow. So we picked that one, and everybody's
Strut by the Cheetah Girls.
How does it go?
Strut like you mean it. free your mind. It's not enough just to dream it. Come on.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Come on. I thought you guys were going to join in and my dream would come true
Sorry,
here
I
in
wanted-
this room,
But
but
never
it's
in my
fine.
life have I heard that song.
I'm fine.
From the Cheetah Girls?
Yeah, I think I must have missed Cheetah Girls.
Yeah,
I
we'll
know,
have
really
to watch
sad.
it.
Okay.
We should actually stop the podcast now and just watch it. So anyways, it was like hilarious because we were all playing it. Nay's in the back going like this. And like everybody's loving it. And so we do that. So we're like, okay, cool. That was just a one-time funny thing. Then we like get to France and somebody like plays it again because we're like, this is so hilarious.
I know. What a like
Ha.
random
So
blast
random.
from the past selection
So
to
random.
become obsessed with. Like, I love it so much. I'm so jealous.
I know, so random. But then, so we're like playing it at trainings and we're like, this is hilarious. Everybody like loved it the first time. Like, let's play it in front of the whole team. So that happens. Don't think about it again. Then we're like, so in camps, we have like a space where our name is, where like all of our equipment will go. And in our spots are all our new shoes. And we open the shoes up and they're like cheetah print. And
Coincidentally?
just like, well, that's what Nike decided to make as our Olympic shoe, was like all these cheetah printed
Yeah, I heard
boots.
cheetah's in.
Exactly.
But
And
not
Rose told
because
me
of the
today.
cheetah TikTok.
not because no, it just was like,
Wow.
oh, and then also like when we were
Gold medal, good luck.
I remember why we played that song. It's because Crystal was wearing a cheetah headband, and then we were like going on the bus, and somebody else down the street, a woman, was wearing like cheetah pants, and Rose was like, oh my gosh, a cheetah
sister.
a cheetah sister.
Mm.
And then
Or cheetah girls.
Cheetah Girls,
sisters,
but
both. You can
but
be
she,
both.
yeah, she was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a cheetah sister right there on the street." And then we would see another one and be like, "Another cheetah sister." So then we started playing the Cheetah Girls, Cheetah Sisters, and everybody was like, "No, play the next one." So that's how it started.
I love that.
So then we get to camp, and all of our Nike boots are cheetahs.
Wait, how does cheetah sister go? Well, we are sisters. We stand together, make each other stronger.
Oh.
That ain't ever gonna change.
Our spots are different.
Different
colors.
colors.
I haven't heard that
Raven
one either.
Simone.
Oh my God. Where was my childhood?
I don't know, Becky. It's like shocking.
This is so sad.
Did you have Disney Channel?
Apparently not.
we will have to watch it.
Did I have cable? Probably not.
I didn't get cable until like an absurdly old age, which is why I like loved Hannah Montana, but I was like too old to love Hannah Montana. It was like so sad.
That's actually hilarious.
I was like a late developer.
It's okay, but look at you now.
I didn't get cool until much later in life.
Still working on it. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so we open the shoes. The boots are cheetah. And I think I go to Malak. I'm like, oh my gosh, our boots are cheetah. And she was like, that's a good omen. And then and that's why there's like a training picture and all of us are like, because I was like, we have to take a picture at training the next day. So anything that happens. And then at trainings, we are like playing music before every, for like activation, before every warm up. And we're like trying to come up with like a walkout song, like for our very last song before we go warm up. And everybody has all these ideas. And then we were like, why are we trying to like move away from Cheetah Girls? Like, why aren't we just like
we are the Cheetah Girls.
We are the Cheetah Girls, which was like then so hilarious because Laura would be like, you guys need to go out to warm up. And we would be like still singing inside. And we're like, wait, like the chorus is coming. And so finally we like got it perfect. So it was like, we're going to walk out straight to this. And everybody was like having a good time. So that is how that happened. I don't remember why I was telling that story now that it's happened.
Well, I think it's leading me to like, you're going into a gold medal match.
Oh, yeah.
The vibes of this team were so clearly different. Like we could Becky and I were commenting on this and it's like,
yeah,
I felt like you guys were going to win. Like it was so easy to watch you. And compared to 2023, again, like no offense, that tournament was hard to watch. Like the team didn't have
hard to be at
an energy like you had here.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to know, was that Emma? Was that the Cheetah Girls thing? Was the team just like young and excited? Like what do you attribute this good energy that we all felt to?
Yeah, I think of a couple things. I think one, there was like enough people in that room who have had bad experiences that were like, okay, like how do we not do that again? I also think that there was a lot of meetings with, well, actually, there wasn't that many meetings, which was also like kind of crazy because I was used to having so many meetings. And with Emma, she was kind of like, if there isn't something I need to tell you guys, like go rest, which was like new. Um, but there was some meetings that we actually just talked about, like, what does it look like when you're down? Because there's going to be a moment when you're down. What does it look like when you're sad? Like, and how do you get out of that? And so when your teammate recognizes that, like, how do you help somebody get out of that moment? Um, which I think was helpful, which also then led to like us having a team meeting. And I think what Alyssa said was really cool was this is the first time that every single person on the roster, nobody has won a gold medal. So we were all striving and fighting for something that we could all do collectively for the first time, which was like a very unique situation, I think, for this specific team. And so we kind of just had to rely on each other and past experiences and being like, okay, well, clearly in the past, we haven't got it done. So let's not do that. How can we come together? And then on top of that, you had a coach that was like very clear in what everybody's role was. And I think when you're clear in a role, you can live into that. And then she like also didn't put that much pressure on us. She was kind of just like, do what you know how to do and do the game plan and we'll win. And then it was like, and if we don't win, then we don't win, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think the only, and then like that we watched film on like what happens when things are tough. Like there was so much more of like the psychological piece. Not saying there wasn't tactical, because there definitely was, and there was like there was a lot of film on like how we're gonna beat teams and like break teams down. But it was more of a like, do your role, do what's asked of you, and we'll be fine. And so I think that was really helpful. And so like even little things like, if you don't know, I'm just going to use me and Soph because we played the same position. But if me and Soph don't know who's the starter, then like every single training rep, I'm like, are you going to go first? Am I going to go first? Or are you going to be with that person? No, I'm going to be like, we're going to be battling the whole time. Me knowing that Soph was the starter, I was like, go. Like you need to go and you need to be with those three people because you need to get those reps. And I think that once you know that, you're like, yeah, I can live in this role. It might not be the role I like, but it's like the role I have. So.
And you can be the best version of yourself in that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think there was just like, again, there wasn't like a big ego about anybody because nobody had done it.
So there was like no hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's like we're all trying to do this thing for the first time.
Exactly. And
That's
it's
cool.
it's like if you score the goal, we all win. If you score the goal, we all win. Like I'm not trying to be out for myself. Not saying that happened in the past, but like that's how it felt, that like every person was like, just put the ball in the net and keep the ball out of our net. And how can we do that collectively?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
So you're playing Brazil in the final, which is a team that we're familiar with. We play them a lot. Regionally, we're kind of close. A lot of the Brazilian players play in the NWSL. Mm-hmm. Going into the game, you've been feeling now for a few days like you guys are going to win. What did the game feel like? Was the energy of the stadium different because it was a gold medal match?
Kind of. Like, it's so interesting, like, I've never been in a World Cup final, but I feel like it's, like, different in an Olympic final just because you're, like, you walk out of this and you're both getting medals. It's, like, a weird feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying people weren't, like, I absolutely desperately wanna win this, but it was more of, like,
it's an accomplishment to be there.
Yeah, we were like, oh my gosh, we like kind of going in, we were like, no matter what, we've already done better than we did in the past.
Yeah, that's cool. And takes the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah. I also think like the meeting before the game, Emma was like, well, we've come this far already, so like just don't fuck it up now. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay. So like that feeling, we knew it was going to be a tough game. We watched Brazil in the semifinal match beat Spain, and we were like, holy shit, like it's going to be very transitional.
And then honestly, Brazil in the first half came out and kind of took it to you guys.
Like, I know.
We were kind of like, oh shit.
Trust me, I know. I was watching on the bench and I was like, there was that one, I can't remember who got in behind, but then it
was Ludmilla, I think.
Yeah, and she had a breakaway.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God we have a listener.
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Yeah.
Seriously. And so in those moments, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. We need to pick it up. And then again, it's just like somebody's gonna find a way though. Like I think I was more nervous, but not in a it like didn't feel as pressured as like an Olympic final, I guess, should feel. Again, this is only my feeling. I couldn't speak for everybody, but everybody just kind of like seemed like they were in the zone. But it and Emma, I think, had a big part of this. She was like, it's not like a huge game, just like go play.
Was there some things that at halftime that Emma provided or said to the team that kind of like changed the momentum? Because when you guys came out in the second half, it was like you guys started eking back and getting back more of the momentum.
I hate to tell you guys, but the finishers become finishers now, like aren't in at halftime.
Really?
Yeah. So
So the finishers are, explain what you
the
mean by that.
finishers are the subs, like the people that are on the bench.
We used to call them game changers.
We used to call them game changers because we come in and change the game, but now it's called a finisher because we are finishing the game.
And you stay out on the field at halftime and you warm up.
We're warming up, yeah.
And you're not, you don't hear the halftime talk.
No. And then Denise will come and then explain to the bench what was said in the locker room.
Denise is the assistant coach.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Which is so fascinating. But at the same time, like I have been a beneficiary of the halftime warm up because there were 2 times where I quickly had to get into the game and I had no time to warm up. So I was like, thank goodness I had that.
You were out at halftime.
Or I would have just been running around cold.
Fascia would not have liked that.
No, I got stuff with my fascias.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming at halftime was what was talked about was just like the positions. Like we did a little position switcheroo and change up, and I think that really helped. But I have no idea.
So you subbed on.
Yes.
Mal had scored in the 57th minute.
Yeah.
Where were you when she scored?
We were just about to start going to warm up, so all of us were like up.
So you weren't on the field yet?
No.
Okay.
And immediately turn and we're like, oh my gosh, Mal's in. Soph, do not touch it. Don't touch it. Mal's in.
That was wild.
Because it looked like Soph might be offside, but then she didn't touch the pass.
Soph was definitely 100% offside.
We watched it 1,000 times.
She was 100% offside, but Mal was coming from behind. And
it's just that gold medal. Good luck again.
And then it's also like
they just knew
trust though.
Yeah.
Because Mal said she called Soph off. And there is a decision in Soph's mind of, do I listen to her or do I still go for the ball? And there was just like a trust about the team that was like, okay, Mal's saying she has it, so I need to now don't touch it.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Thank God. And then Mal did her Mal thing.
How did you feel when Mal scored?
I jump up and down, hugged people.
Did you scream?
Yeah, of course I screamed. I was like, oh my gosh, we're winning. Screaming, jumping up and down, so happy.
So then you're subbing on and we're winning 1-0 and you're like, okay, we got to just get through this. What did you want to do while you were out there?
I wanted to get the ball into the corners because so now at this point they're starting to throw numbers forward and they're like having to go for it. And I'm like, so it's opening up space in behind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to get either, if you don't think you can score immediately and go straight to goal, you need to go to the corner because the time is dwindling. And so my thought was, 1, get pressure on the ball so they can't lump it in, so our back line doesn't have to deal with balls.
Which is like a specialty of yours.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to get after it. And 2, if there's an opportunity to get in behind. And then 3, like if there's an opportunity to hold it in the corner, do that. And we did hold it in the corner for like
really well.
Really well. There was like 3 of us that were just like taking turns, just like,
I used to love doing that.
Oh,
same.
really? I've never gotten to do it, but I
oh
would
my gosh,
love
it's
to
like
try
the
it.
best feeling because
you just feel like so in control because the other team starts to like panic.
It's so
and
powerful.
You can kind of just like play with them a little bit because you can always pass it back and like get it back, and they're starting to like get all out of shape.
Yeah.
So it's actually like it gets easier.
I love too because when you're like in the corner and you're like holding people off, I'm like, I am the strongest woman in the world.
I know.
I'm like, wow. So that was like my thought process of like, how can I just make sure that this ball stays as close to their goal as possible? And then the whistle blows. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I immediately tackled Lindsay. I like basically just sat on her. And I was like, I can't believe this.
Oh my gosh.
it was like a surreal feeling. Like we got to the circle and then we got even into the locker room and everybody's like, what? Like, I can't believe it's even like you didn't even hit us yet. I don't think it really hits you though until you get your like you have the medal put on you because you're just like, what? Do we have to play another one in 3 days? Like, is it?
Oh
are we
my
gonna
gosh.
keep going?
Did you guys get to party a little bit before the medal ceremony, or were they like, guys, you got to get dressed?
Okay, so this is the thing. They were like, you had 10 minutes from the final whistle to then get changed into your medal stuff.
Shut up.
That is no time.
So you
No.
didn't even shower.
No, we did not shower, not at that moment. So then you have no time, and they're like, we're gonna do the circle and then immediately go inside. Don't even say hi to your family. And I was like, you guys have got to be kidding me if you think I'm not saying hi to my family. Like, I'm absolutely doing that. So like, I think I was the one who actually did start the trend of going over because I was the first one.
You little rule breaker.
I
you.
was a little rule breaker.
Oh, that's like cute though.
But I was like, I'm not gonna not say hi to my family. What are you talking about? But they're like,
Yeah.
we're on a schedule, and I'm like, well, you're gonna have to push this
my
back.
family's more important than the schedule.
Exactly. So then we're in the locker room. We change. I had a beer. Some people had some beers.
So unlike you.
So unlike me. It is. It was so weird.
Okay, go.
But what?
Lynn, you need to tell us about the medal story. The condensed version, you got an Olympic gold medal and you proceeded to detach the medal from the ribbon.
Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's been hiding behind the box of Olipop this whole time.
I wrapped it in its friend.
In its loose ribbon.
Oh.
Oh my God. Can I hold?
Yeah.
Can I see the ribbon?
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful
Coaster.
coaster. Gold plated Paris 2024. This is actually beautiful.
Oh, I hope so.
Jeux de la
I know. I feel like I've almost lost this thing a couple times. now, but it's-
Olympiade. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, Lynn. Congratulations.
You're welcome. I mean, what? Thank you. Okay, so the short version is I had the medal around. First of all, apparently they have this has nothing to do with how I broke it, but apparently they have been like tarnishing. So I almost wore this in the shower right after we won, and somebody was like, "Don't do that. It will tarnish." So good thing I didn't do that, or I would have a dented and tarnished medal. That would have been terrible.
Wait, it's dented?
Oh yeah, I dented it.
Why? Because it flung off your neck?
Well, if you'll let me get to
Were
that.
you hula hooping your neck?
Oh my God, no. My neck strength is not that good. But anyways, I had the medal on
Yeah.
and I had a couple drinks, maybe a lot of couple drinks. And I don't know why I thought, you know what I need to do is swing this thing around.
Cowgirl style.
Very
Yeah, so I
typical.
started swinging it and somebody was like, oh my God, Lynn, you almost hit me with your medal. So then there was like an area in like this walkway that naturally then people started egging me on and I was like, watch this. And I was like swinging it in a more safe environment. And then Marley behind the camera was like, hammer throw. So then I'm like doing it like that. And obviously like that didn't help.
I'm sorry, he said hammer throw.
Yeah, you know the track and field event?
Yeah, I was just making sure that that's what he said.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I had a couple drinks, a couple, maybe more than a couple.
Okay.
But like how the medal is you have the ribbon inside and then there's usually like a bar that will hold it like that inside. And the bar must have flung out. Not on though when I was like swinging it around, that probably loosened the bar. And then I had the medal like this on my arm. Because when I was dancing, I felt like it was whipping me. And so I was like, I'm going to put it on my arm like a little purse. And I was jumping when we were all jumping up and down. And I jumped up and I came down. And all of a sudden I'm like, my medal. And so I'm like now like being like, okay, there it is. And I grab my medal and then I hold it up. And I'm like, I broke my medal. And Marley's like, what on earth? How did you do that? And so then the next day I am now sober and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a dent in my medal and I have no ribbon attached to it. And so honestly now like
honestly it's a better
yeah,
story.
like
Great
if,
story.
if I never
It's
got
like
it
kind of
fixed,
sick.
if I never got it fixed, like it wouldn't be the end of the world. I do wish that this was reattached and I think that I will be able to do that.
How?
I think I could take it to a jeweler
Oh, that makes sense.
or I could just super glue it.
Don't super.
I'm just
super-
kidding. I
yeah,
would
don't
never.
do that.
I could take it to a jeweler, but we have a box that it will just live in its little box. And honestly, it looks better because there's no place for your ribbon. So you would have to, so it kind of just will like live in the box. But when we went to the closing ceremony and everybody got to wear their medals and I had to just be like this the whole time.
Like a badge?
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty sad. So that was the one time I wish I was like, I wish my medal wasn't broken. But yeah, like I definitely broke it. That's my bad. They should like consider that next time though when they're making medals. Like the thing is heavy, and this is not.
Did you just blame the Olympics for making too beautiful of a medal?
This brings us to our Olipop gut check of the week. Actually, do Olympic gold medals need to be more durable?
Well, I'm not the only one who's been having medal problems.
Who else?
I don't know. The online people told me.
I have never heard of someone else destroying their medal.
You have a gold medal, Becky.
I didn't destroy it.
I'm sorry. Detach it from its ribbon. Is that the proper way of saying it?
Yeah, but they did say there's a thing going around saying that France Olympic medals aren't, or people are having issues with them tarnishing, not detaching.
I'm my gut check on this. Hot take: they should be as durable as the athletes. If Lynn Williams can detach her medal just by doing a little bit of hardcore celebrating, I think it needs to be more durable. That's my take.
I agree with that. I think that they should.
This is the most powerful woman in the world.
Exactly. You should see me in the corner shielding girls off. Powerful woman.
Like, it's not an egg. It's a medal.
I think for the weight to ribbon ratio, there needs to be a bar that can hold the weight. Again, don't hammer throw your medal.
Yeah. Words to live by, kids.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to,
you could.
It should still have a dent, but it should stay on. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Becky? Like it's not even, okay, Becky, look inside of there.
It's
not
Becky.
even like there's like a where a pinhole should be. So it's almost like the bar was just resting in there.
Or you just completely destroyed the inside of it and we wouldn't even know if there were pins to hold the bar in.
Becky's not on our side.
I'm not on your side. I'm so sorry.
The pin wasn't even gold. It was silver.
Well, yeah, it's just gilded. It's not solid gold. Did I just destroy your dreams?
No,
by
I
saying
did that.
Okay, good.
But they should make that at least gold too.
They should make the whole thing gold.
Yeah, I know it was my fault, Becky. It's fine.
No.
Hot take though. And we should have that slogan for 2028 LA.
As powerful as the athletes.
Yeah, and then they should give it to me and watch me hammer throw it.
As like a test.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Lynn should do hammer throwing at the 2028 Olympics.
Oh my gosh. Should my next career be a hammer throw?
I think this is the start of something great, and you can go get another gold medal and break that one too.
I feel like we are like downplaying how hard it is to do it in the hammer throws. So
Yeah,
I don't want.
I'm over here just kind of like.
I don't want to.
But in all seriousness, can you just tell us you have a bronze medal from
Yes.
2021?
Yeah, I would like to compare now.
What does this mean to you to be an Olympic gold medalist?
It's pretty surreal. Like, I feel like I could cry if I actually like really get into it.
Well, I want you to really get into it.
No, I don't want to cry.
Then I'm going to really get into it first because your career, I feel like you have been looked over a couple of times. You weren't on the roster in 2019 when we won.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were named as an alternate in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you kind of almost weren't at this tournament, even though you have been in such great form and you're a veteran of the team. Like, to now always get to say you're an Olympic gold medalist, for me to watch you do that was so hard earned. Like, you've been through so many difficult ups and downs. And I'm wondering if it was like a really validating moment for you. Like, I belonged here all along.
Definitely. I think that my career, I think when like I dream of like what my career would have been, it's like exactly the opposite of that. Like, I, of course, wanted to be on the national team and I wanted to be like a gold medalist and I wanted all of these things. But the road to get there was so hard. And I'm not saying everybody else's road isn't hard too, but like being from Fresno in the first place, like you just overlooked. And then I only got recruited by Pepperdine, which is a mid-major like school. And then I felt like I was doing so good in the league. But then when I got to the national team, for some reason, it either like didn't translate or like it didn't. I don't feel like I was ever really put in a position to succeed in the skill sets that I brought with my club. And so I felt like I was always in this battle of, am I good enough to be here? But I do think I'm also good enough to be here. And then getting called into the first Olympics, and I feel like at the whole time, like I just wanted to prove to myself that like I could do it. And being an alternate there, and then getting to go into the Netherlands game and scoring, I was like, okay, I've proven like I do belong here. But then when it came to the next World Cup, like I was named there, but then I feel like I didn't even really play the role I thought that I should be playing. So then it was like another one of those like emotional roller coasters of what is happening. And then also in between those, I feel like the whole time I've been fighting for my life to get onto the team. And I think of like how long I've been on the team and I have not reached 100 caps. I'm like, how on earth have I not gotten there yet? Like I've been in all these camps, but I'm never playing. So I think like the journey has been very like, it's been really hard. And so to get the this gold medal in particular, I think it's like a symbol to myself that, like you said, like I do belong here. I've belonged here all along, but also like I should have some more, not confidence, but like faith that it's okay that my path didn't look amazing and it was really, really hard. But sometimes like I think the hardness is what makes it so beautiful. Um and then I'm like, this is going to be also for like girls who see themselves in me and being like, maybe the first person didn't want me or the second person didn't want me or the third person. But if you're just stubborn enough, then you're gonna do it. Um, yeah. So I think that it's like very, I just think it's crazy. Like I can't believe it sometimes. Cause then you like come back and you're just like, okay, I'm back. it's so and I just think that like, it's something that nobody can ever take from me. Um, Yeah, but most importantly, I got to do it with like my teammates, but also like my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't believe that Marley and my mom got to be there the whole time and like celebrate that. And I don't know, like I don't. You guys probably feel the same way with like the World Cup. It's like it's crazy.
I do feel the same way about the World Cup. I think I've said this a few times recently that as I've retired and realized that 2019 is the only World Cup I'll ever get to go to, which is not what I imagined for my career either. I wanted to go to 3. Yeah. I wanted to get 100 caps. I wanted to have some milestones that I saw my teammates have and be like, look, Becky has a laundry list of tournaments that she's been to and won. And the further away I get from it, the more grateful and proud I am that I made it in 2019 and that I had the tournament that I did and that my family was there to see it. Like the proudest moment of my whole life was knowing my parents watched me start the first game of the World Cup. I like always think about that moment because I was like, this is the moment where I knew I did it. Yeah. Like the childhood dream came true in that moment.
Yeah.
So hearing you talk about how special this is, like it only gets more special, which makes me really happy to hear how great it already is. How do you feel, Becky?
Well, I just want to kind of talk about you some more. Like through my career, there have been like special people that have just been like winners and not necessarily like wins and losses winners, but like people who have the best perspective, who take on their roles to their very best, who bring out the best out of everybody else. And like, you're so easy to point to and just be like, you're a winner. Thanks. And any team that I would ever create, you would be on it 100%.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like hard to obviously put everything like that I'm feeling in this moment. Like, it's like, I'm at a loss for words. I think that like, I don't know I hope looking back one day, I'll be like I said, nobody can ever take this away from me. Nobody will ever be able to say that, take away. Like when I look at it, I'm like 2-time Olympian bronze medalist, Olympic gold medalist. Like I could never dream that up. Like that's crazy to me now saying it. I think that obviously I would have loved to have a starting role in both of those, but I think what's really cool for me is like knowing that I was like so true to myself the entire time, and I like made myself irreplaceable in the role that I was given or was able to do. And I think that like that is what I have come to terms with, is that I fell into a role that, not even fell, but like I was given and had the role that fit me the best. And it wasn't necessarily a role that I, like I said, always dreamed of myself, but it was the best role that fit my personality. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody else who comes along who can fill that role, but like I don't think there'll ever be another Lynn. Like there will never be another Sam, and there'll be never be another Becky. And I think that we all filled the role that we fell into. Like I think about you all the time being a captain, and you always say like, I didn't want that. But you were the best captain because it was like fit your personality so great. And I was like, who else would do it? Like you were meant to do that. And then I also think about you fighting for like all the things with the CBA and planning. And I'm like, that's the role that fell into your lap because that was like the best thing that you could possibly do. So I think with this gold medal in this Olympics, I keep saying like, why was I trying to fight something and like be like, I'm going to have to be the starter. Like I need to be that person. I'm like, no, I just need to be Lynn. And that's the role that fell into my lap because that's what I was best at. And so when I look at that, that's exactly what I think.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, girls. That is really, really sweet.
Okay.
I like don't know really what else to say. That was like a really, really nice moment.
I know I'm sweating now because I like sometimes can't have normal emotions.
I know. Can you just tell us a little bit like what struck you as?
I'm just so happy for her.
Thanks, Beck. It's been tough. Like it really has. Like, yeah, it has been. It like, I will say, I wish like I said this to Sam, I think, but I wish you guys were there to experience this tournament. And I know this sounds like it's like rubbing in your face. I really don't mean it that way, but I feel like in the last couple of tournaments, in the last years that I've been on the team, it's been so exhausting, like mentally exhausting. And that's not saying like it shouldn't be. Like this is tough. If everybody could do it if it wasn't tough. But for some reason, this tournament just felt so easy and like peaceful in a way. So I think that like if I was never able to play a national team game again, like I felt so at peace being like, not only did I get this gold medal, but like it was in a fun, loving like way. And I think that like that's something I would like never take for granted.
That's amazing. Obviously, Becky and I are both so happy for you. I feel like this whole episode has been one giant good vibe about Lynn's Olympic experience and journey and medal. So I want to have us all share quickly one last good vibe before we end this episode. And I can just start by saying that I'm so grateful for both of you, that we can have conversations like this. I'm so proud of you. I feel so lucky that you and I get to do this together. Part of retiring is like stepping away from relationships that have been in your life for so long, and doing this show with you for so long and with you this year has, I think, enriched our relationships and given me this tie back to soccer and to my friends that I really needed. So I'm really, really grateful. And that's my good vibe for today.
Well, mine's kind of similar. Mine's kind of like, I feel like life has taken us 3 different pathways and we rarely get to be in the same room. I know I'm rarely in the same room with you too. So just being here together with you is my good vibe.
I don't have one besides that either. Like I'm so grateful for both of you. I love you guys so much. I really do. I was like even thinking, I was like, I'm so excited Becky's going to be here because we can talk about nonsense. And I feel like, I just don't feel like you tell your friends how much like you love them enough. And I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity to do this and just be in each other's presence.
I know. Good
it's
vibes
like,
for life.
So call your friends. Tell them how much you love them.
You love them.
That is so sweet. Well, if you just listen to this wicked long podcast, we love you so much. You are such an extraordinary human. We're so grateful for you. Please, everybody do it. Please make sure if you're listening to this as a podcast, they're making fun of me because I was moving my hands around a lot. Please make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast feed. You are subscribed to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads at Women's Game MIB. We love you all so much. On Thursday, we have Arsenal's Alessia Russo, so come right back to whatever platform you're listening to this on. This has been so much fun. First in-person good vibes ever.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
See you next week.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.